this live stream, even before we went live, it already has a lot of likes. So I think probably a lot of you are very interested in this topic and really want to learn a little bit more about this topic. Yeah, so uh, definitely a lot to share about it. There are a lot of tips and tricks and of course all these different types of productivity things that books that people have written about productivity, and there are a lot of complicated topics about it. I am no productivity expert, and this is why I have learned a thing or two about productivity, I believe, throughout my years of running businesses and teaching and working in academia and writing. And all right, good morning, namaste, Nikhil. Yeah. I actually never knew before. I knew the word namaste because it's like a lot of people say namaste. Um, just as in the U.S. I know is like a trendy thing if they want to sound cool, say namaste. But I never knew that it's actually hello. So um, I thought it was something else. So thank you for teaching me that recently. So thank you, Nikhil. So anyway, um, yeah. So that's why I titled this video, or I titled this live stream, what I do, how I have basically, stayed productive without burning out. I think one of the main things about, for me, that has helped me is, if I even look back at tips and tricks, yes, there are lots of tips and tricks. Organizing my calendar, of course, I have everything organized in my calendar, and I time block, and I limit screen time and do all these wonderful things, and we'll get all of this. But I think all of that stems from one thing that I've been able to do. One thing, which is I consistently am processing my thoughts and my feelings and my emotions. And what do I mean by that? Well, yeah, I'm journaling, but I'm being very specific about what I'm feeling and what I'm thinking, what I'm reflecting on. Why? Because a lot of times, why do we burn out? And I know from my experience that in the past I've burnt out a lot. Not because of hard work, right? I don't think it's hard, and I think a lot of the research shows it's not because of hard work. People, in general, hard work, like if you really think about it, you love hard work. You love it. If you think about something that you like to do, you love working hard at that thing that you love to do, right? It's not about hard work. Human beings are willing to work very hard if they enjoy the work, right? If they enjoy that work. However, in the past, whenever I've worked really hard and I'm not enjoying it or whatever, in the back of my mind, there are all of these issues that I'm maybe not aware of. There are all these little sources of stress. There have been all these little sources of tension, and I have not. And I in the past, I was not in the habit of verbalizing those things. I would just feel tense or feel anxious or feel stressed or feel some negativity, and I wasn't telling myself. I wasn't being explicit to myself. Well, this is why. This is why. And you know what? So you know what just really fixes it for me every single time, even to this day? Lime and leaf. Okay, I love negativity too, in a way, when it's constructive, and I'll actually explain it. So very if you mean it in a certain way, I think I agree with you. But let's understand how I mean it, and feel free to talk about how you mean it. But how I mean it is that I'll get everything out on a page, right? And this is just I'll dump everything, all the bad things that are going wrong, onto the page, and I'll list them all out. And I think in videos in the past I've mentioned this little technique, but it has always worked so wonderfully. And everybody that I've also talked to who's also used this says, oh, it works so well. It works really, really well. Hey, welcome. Yeah, Sweeney Tune. Yeah, what if you don't try to verbalize it and just feel it? So, it actually, the research that I'm aware of, that if you just let it simmer and you don't verbalize what it is and what you're feeling, it does tend to cause more of this, very, harmful stress over time. Yeah, yeah. Actually, Lyman Leaf. Let me be clear about what I'm talking about, because I think what you're talking about is this can easily veer into what's also called toxic positivity. That's a bad thing too, right? Everybody says be positive, and I actually have a video coming up on this as well. But be positive, stay positive. I actually have a whole video coming up about all the contradictions in the self-help, all the little paradoxes, and what leaves everybody confused is all these paradoxes. You end up can't that you can't even follow these things because they don't even make sense. But coming back a moment to what I mean and why this is actually constructive is you get everything out on the page. I list out maybe 5 things that are on my mind, and I'm not realizing maybe that are on my mind. Like, why am I feeling the way that I am? Oh, it's because of this. Oh, I realize it's because of this and because of this, and I'm just super honest with myself. That's very important, because sometimes if you don't list in the listing process, you're not super honest with yourself. If you're not super honest with yourself about actually what's causing you to feel that way, that's going to hold you back in the first place. So you get everything out, be super honest about it, even if it means admitting to yourself that you're really insecure about whatever thing you don't want to admit. And then on the right side, you list solutions, or I will list solutions, and I'll list on the right side, it's basically 2 columns. All those things that I put out in the page, I dumped out in the page, that's all on my left, in my left column. In my right column, I will put all of the possible solutions for each one. Yeah, I'll get to that soon, too. So you list out all the things in the maybe, like, I typically do 2 to 3 solutions for each problem. Just list them out. This is what's called divergent thinking. You engage in divergent thinking here and and then you swing around and converge on a solution, engage in convergent thinking. They often go together. But you try to figure out what is the one solution that you will implement. All right? So, and that's very, very helpful for me. And from there, in terms of productivity, how does it relate to productivity? Well, I get those things off of my mind, first of all. I get them out of my mind. It automatically helps me feel more centered and more focused. How is that effective for productivity? Well, one, it allows me to feel more in control. And when we feel more in control, we tend to we are more motivated to do certain things that are on our list, or things that are time blocked in our calendar, right? Yeah, and then Lyman Leaf, I'll get to that as well. A good comment there. And then by listing those out, I'm not just listing out the solutions, not doing anything. You have to take action. So I put those into my calendar somewhere. And this is where a calendar comes in handy, some Google Calendar or something that you can schedule things. And I'll put those solutions in my calendar. So I might schedule a phone call with somebody that I need to talk to, or maybe it's send an email. If it can be done right now, then I'll do it right now. And good evening to you, Focus Master. It is morning where I am, but good evening to you. And so let me address Swoony Toon and Lyman Leaf, some of the things that you said. What if you want something that's bad? I mean, define that. It really depends what you mean, because that could be very broad. There could be something that is bad in the sense of, it's actually going to harm someone else. I mean, that determines the answer there. If it's bad and you just feel like, if it's bad from the perspective of you just feel guilty about doing it, right? Because it's something that you want to do, it's a little bit of a different situation. Lyman Leaf, putting a filter of positivity, yeah. You have to actually, it's important to experience the negative emotions. It's important. I actually find it so empowering in getting things done, right? And productivity is about what? Getting things done in the first place, right? I mean, if you want to put it that way. That's oversimplification, but everything's an oversimplification, right? It is. There are different philosophies on this, and yeah, maybe you might dispute my definition here, but the thing is, if you want to get things done, I have found the most empowering thing is getting those things out and being super honest with myself about what's going on. Like being super honest about what I'm feeling. Even if it's like, oh, I'm just jealous of that person. Uh, I'm just jealous about this, or oh, I actually feel this way about myself. Oh, that's really like wow, that's really deep. Like that's really insecure. That's really like I feel like I'm a loser about this thing or whatever. And it's like if you're really super specific about it, then I think it feels liberating to me because it's like wow, okay, if I really understand that that's how I'm feeling honestly, then now I can swing around to saying, well, what's really the solution? Um, so yeah, do you have to? So Sweeney Toon, you said, do you have to force an answer, or do you just know low key? I believe, and you may disagree with me, but I believe, and it's there's some good research that I'm aware of as well, that you basically should be as specific as possible. Because the more specific you are and the more honest you are with yourself, the more you can find solutions. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Actually, nowadays, here's one big problem. Just in our entire society, we don't want to be honest with ourselves. Like we want to, in a sense, lie to ourselves about what the real problems are, and we want to believe or make believe that certain things are fine and this is okay and this is fine, and that's a problem. That's a problem because the more we create mythologies and the more we create make believe scenarios about what's really going on and what's really the problem, uh, and oh, how wonderful things are when really actually it's not so wonderful. The more we mythologize like that, well, you can never ever get to a solution. It's why you see a lot of these companies that have that just think they are the best and nothing's ever wrong. They don't want input from people because we're always we have a big ego and we're always doing the best and all of that. And I'm the best leader. I'm so smart. I'm so great. There are no problems. Well, guess what? Historically, like those people eventually they fail and they fall and because they have no ability for self-criticism. And that's actually important. It's actually yeah, Lyman Leaf, okay, good point. And yeah, they can lead to solutions, but are they real solutions, right? Like if you start with the wrong premise, I mean, just in general, if you start with the wrong premise, you're going to get to the wrong solution. So the solution that you come up with for the problem, if you're not really clear about the problem, the solution you come up with the problem could actually be more harmful than the problem. So, Ronette, I think hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right. You read more than 100 books, so tell me 5 psychology things which make you differentiation from example. Work on what you like. I'm not sure I understand your question, but 5 good psychology books. I have to think about 5 good psychology books. That's the problem when you've read so many books. It's hard to honestly narrow down. I mean, I can think of a few right now off the top of my head that are really good. But again, Here's the problem. People, and I'm not saying nothing against what you're asking me. It's just that psychology is this huge broad field, just like biology. Biology is this huge broad field. Even like critical thinking is this huge broad category. And so there are hundreds of thousands, millions of books that have ever been written about, in a particular topic. And so if you narrow down a little bit to a specific problem you want to work on or a specific thing you want to learn, then it'll help me recommend that to you better. Sometimes people ask me like, what are the best 5 books? What are the best 10 books? I'm like, I don't have an answer for you. I'm sorry. I don't have an answer as to like what the best 10 books are. Because you have to be more specific. Are you talking about for learning, for philosophy of science? Are you talking about for even for if you say personal growth? Well, that still doesn't. It's not specific enough. Are you talking about financial finances? Yeah, those are some good ones that you're mentioning here. Are you talking about self confidence? Like what? What are we talking about? Like communication. So feel free. I mean, I'm always happy to give book recommendations, but try to be as specific as possible as to what your focus is. By the way, also, this is an important point. If I recommend some books that are self-help books and I say, oh, these are the 10 best, I'm being disingenuous because I don't know if those are the 10 best for you. Does that make sense? Like, the best 10 books for me might be the worst 10 books for you, or not very helpful for you. Yeah, actually, Never Split the Difference is a fantastic book. I agree. And negotiate, yes, as your life depends, yes, as if your life depends on it. That's also another great book. I actually really like Chris Voss. I love what Chris Voss is about and how he even explains things, and he's a very good teacher, I think. So, let's see. Other things. If you look, then you shall see. Yes, is self-criticism an act of ego or something that comes from within? Well, I mean, doesn't ego come from within? So maybe I'm misunderstanding misunderstanding you or what you mean, but yeah, I think it's an act of ego. I think it's ultimately inevitable that you will come from a place of ego. You know, I mean, just even in traditional Buddhism, right? Buddhism, one of the basic premises is that, you know, your ego, in a sense, is the cause of the suffering, right? Your desire for things is the cause of suffering. Of course, I am oversimplifying it, but I mean, technically, yes, you are focusing on yourself. You can overfocus on yourself, right? You can overfocus on yourself, and that's actually an important point that you bring up. Oh, Culture Code. The Culture Code is a great one. Yeah. Lyman Leaf. This is a great book. The Culture Code. Daniel Coyle, and actually Daniel Coyle has a couple of good books that, if I'm not mistaken, I think. No. Maybe I'm thinking of another author, but yeah, Daniel Coyle does, and the Talent Code, I think, is another good one by him. So now, research also does show there's this I'm very aware of. There's very good research out there that shows that helping someone else, doing something for someone else, and actually focusing outward does cause, well, according to psychological models, causal, but does cause you to feel happier in a sense. Actually, it causes a greater sense of well-being when you focus on other people, helping other people, serving other people. I know I have experienced this a lot in my own life. Even like running businesses. So it's like if I really satisfy a customer and help the customer get what they want and really have a great experience, like that feels really, really great to me, right? That has felt really, really great to me. Just aside from a business context, helping a friend, right? Just helping a friend that is going through a hard time or needs some advice, like that's very, very rewarding. And then of course, there are so many contexts for this, so there is good research on that. And yes, if you do over focus on yourself, you can end up worsening those feelings. Now, that's why you say, well, isn't this all contradictory? Well, that's it's not. Sorry, my mind wandered to another thing because I saw your post down there. I'll talk about drive in a moment. The surprising truth about what motivates us, Daniel Pink. So drive. Okay. I'll talk about that in a moment. It's not contradictory, by the way. It's about the two things in balance, right? Make sure you're actually processing your feelings and your emotions, and then also looking outside yourself. Both do not have to be mutually exclusive. They're just in moderation, right? Well, let's talk about this one here. Drive. and ultimately this does make you a hell of a lot more productive. Trust me. And then people try to use all these hacks, and then it doesn't solve anything, right? Come on, ask yourself, why have you used a bunch of productivity hacks and they don't really solve anything? Well, because you have to get to the foundations of why you're doing what you're doing, and it's a good segue here with this book Drive by Daniel Pink. It is a good book. It is a good book. I will say that it's more of, it is kind of more of a pop psychology kind of thing where he does draw upon some really valid ideas about human behavior, but it's more kind of like pop psychology. If you really want to get into the weeds about what truly motivates people and what drives human motivation, you can look at a lot of more books that have a lot more scientific citations and things like that. It's a little bit more technical, but it is actually it's really helpful at the end of the day. So, for instance, anything by Albert Bandura, Social Foundations of Thought and Action. He has a model since the 1960s, since the cognitive revolution, that has shown to be really, really sound. Right? It ends up being a simple model, but then to model it becomes somewhat complex. But anyway, to actually, track the causation and everything of human action ends up being a little bit. Yeah. So of course, yeah. And then, have you read Can't Hurt Me? I actually, yes. So yes, I have Can't Hurt Me. So different people have different kind of outlooks on David Goggins or whatever. I really got a lot from Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. I have gotten a lot from this book because I really appreciated his story. Now, I mean, I don't know if parts of it are embellished or not. I have no idea. Like, did he really run on broken legs and stuff? I mean, maybe he did. I don't doubt it. Maybe he did. Maybe he did. Maybe it's completely true. But regardless, if he did, that's incredible. It's incredible. I'm not calling the guy a liar, by the way. It's just like sometimes when you write, it's you write something in a way that it's makes it more grandiose than it was sometimes, as some people do that. But regardless, I think it's a really, really powerful story. The powerful story. And I love how he frames the principles that he talks about. One of them is the cookie jar. And I love this idea of the cookie jar. Let me actually explain his idea of the cookie jar. Lemon leaf. So yeah, you probably know what I'm talking about. So yeah, Nikhil, I will actually answer. Actually, it's a good question. Good question. I'll answer it. The cookie jar. What's the cookie jar? When you are feeling like you can't go any further. You can't get any further than you currently are. He says, imagine there are cookies in a cookie jar, and you can always take. You just take the cookie from the cookie jar, right? And you use that one. There are always some left, right? You just take that out and you use it, right? It's kind of, why is that useful? We operate a lot on these most of us operate on these visual analogies in life to understand things and to motivate ourselves as well. And so sometimes if you think about that, I've actually taken that idea to some extent when I'm on the treadmill, or when I'm doing some really intense exercise and I'm thinking, I have, this is just, I can't push my body anymore. I can't push my body anymore. I can't go any further. And I actually just tell myself often, no, that's a lie. You're lying to yourself. You're just lying to yourself. And, and it actually just helps me. And I say, okay, well, let me just take a cookie from the cookie jar, right? I have more. My body's lying to me. I think actually that is a possible. I think he did say something like that at some point. Your body's just lying to you. Your body's lying to you. I think he has said that. And I know that. And your body wants to keep you alive, and so it will send you all these signals, right? That you're out of energy because it doesn't want to expend energy. I mean, that's how we're built. And so you kind of just have to overcome that psychologically. It's very good practice for other areas of life as well. So Nikhil, you said, have you ever encountered a sense of frustration while reading a book or a textbook because you're not able to make sense of what you understand? Absolutely, and it happens to everybody. It happens to everybody. You know, and actually, I have a video coming up in a few weeks about a learning system that I've, several tools that I've learned about how to teach people, because I am a teacher. I teach on a regular basis at all sorts of academic subjects, and one of the things that I do teach is actually helping people to increase their comprehension of different texts and things like that. It is important for many topics. And yes, I experienced that. There are really only a couple of reasons. One of the main reasons that when you read a book and you feel frustrated, it's very simple. Can you guess what it is? And you don't understand the topic? It's less to do with how intelligent you are. It's not so much that. Most of the time, what? It's because you lack context. You lack context. And that's why in one of my other videos, I've recommended reading 3 books at a time. Reading like your high-level book that you want to master. Maybe it's that textbook. But then reading maybe some other books, a more general, broad book that kind of covers basic concepts in that field, or basic concepts that you're covering in that field, and then the mid-level book, which is a little bit between the two, between general and then specific, kind of probably fills in even more context for you. And so that helps a lot. So for instance, if you're reading I'll give you a perfect example. The first time anybody ever reads something in like the philosophy of language, they're using all these authors that are writing in this field, right? Like John Searle and Grace and Kripke and like all these Russell and all these things that are famous. All right. They're writing and they're using terms like intension, extension, recursion, they're using set theory terms, they're using logical notation. They're using all these things. And if you read that, of course you're going to get frustrated. If you have no idea and have no background in that stuff, of course you're going to be frustrated. You're going to feel like this is the densest thing I have ever read, the hardest thing I can get through, could ever get through. And that's why, not before. Sometimes people say, "Oh, well, before you do that stuff, read this other stuff." All right? No. I don't believe in before. Challenge yourself as you're reading that stuff to read it, embrace the difficulty of it, but then go into. Sorry, somebody texted me. I think one of these. I get these scam texts. Everybody gets these scam texts. It's not somebody trying to scam you. Anyway, and it distracted me. See, all these sorts of distractions in life. All right, and so take that book, right, and then but read something. Maybe you want to learn about formal logic. Maybe you want to learn about intension versus extension. Actually, something or recursion. Like there are books about set theory out there that you can read. Right, so, or even just you don't maybe not even have to read a book. Maybe as you read, you look up these terms. Right, you look up the terms, you try to get through them. Eventually, guess what? Guess what happens? Hey, Victor, Vector. Hey, Vector. Hey, Omer. I think. Welcome. As you get through these books, right? You read the first article. You read the second article in the anthology. You read the third one. Eventually, by the fourth one, it's starting to get easier. You go and read another similar book, and oh wow, this is I could do this now. Eventually, it's like I could get through this. I could skim through it. All right, like eventually you can do that, but it takes time. It takes time. All right, so definitely when you want, it's not the only reason you might find something difficult when you're reading, but it is one of the main reasons. Is simply context, lacking context. if you don't know what a word means, if you don't know what a term means, if you've never come across this theoretical idea before, of course, you're going to have trouble with it. A lot of these books, remember, a lot of these books are written for an audience where they don't want to have to re-explain the term. They assume that everybody who's reading it in their audience that they're writing for already knows these terms, already knows these ideas, right? So, strategy, psychology tips which will make me better than millions of people. Why do you want to be better than millions of people? I don't know. Try not to be better than millions of people. Just try to be better than you were yesterday and last week. And, I'm not... So, I guess better, but I mean, is it really meaningful to compare yourself to other people in that way? Or is it more useful to just compare yourself to where you were yesterday? I don't know. The idea of comparing people in that way doesn't necessarily seem that useful, right? It's a little empty, honestly. I'm not insulting you. I don't want to insult you, but it is a little empty at the end of the day. Like, hey, eventually you're gonna, we're all gonna pass away. Right, we're not going to be here anymore, and then what's my greatest accomplishment? That I was better than millions of people? I mean, that's a pretty sad accomplishment. I did the best. I did the best in my life that I possibly could do. I surpassed. I totally reached my full potential. Yeah, that's a pretty good accomplishment, I think, in comparison. Anyway, you may disagree with me, but yeah, let me just finish here with just an explanation of my day. Now, my day, the structure of my day is going to be very different than I think a lot of people, because I don't, I mostly do YouTube kind of semi full time. At this point, I don't do it, and then I teach and I coach and stuff like that. So my schedule used to be way more out of control, but my schedule is my own now. So I don't know how much giving you my schedule, my daily routine, will really help you, but I'll lay it out there. So I get up, I walk the dog, I eat breakfast, and then I go to the gym. All right, I go to the gym about an hour and a half. If I'm doing cardio days, I'll do 2 hours at the gym, because I don't do cardio every single day. And then I will come back. I will do probably some writing, some scripting, or some ideation, or I'll talk about, do some stuff with thumbnail design, some feedback on thumbnail design, some feedback on the editing. Yeah, gym for about 2 hours. On the cardio days, yeah, it's about 2 hours. Yeah. I love the gym. I love actually working out. So, and you know what my biggest motivation for staying fit is? It's actually really my main motivation. Yeah, health is very good, right? And we all say we want to be healthy. Does that really motivate us as much as it should? Maybe not. But for me, what motivates me is I love hiking. I love trails. I love going to different like mountains and stuff like that, and trails, and I love just exploring new ones. And so I want to stay in shape so I could do that stuff. Right? So that's important for me. So I stay in shape. I stay in shape for that stuff. What most important and powerful thing do you learn from books? The most general thing. Let me finish my schedule. So I do, and then I walk my dog again. Then I have lunch. Then it depends on each day. Then I do some sort of work for YouTube. I'll do some sort of research, ideation, topics, research, typing, writing, scripting. Actually, yes, I want to visit the Himalayas. Yes, absolutely. Yes, fix the sources, the quality of food, move around. And then I'll do some reading. I have scheduled for reading, various books, usually 4 or 5 different books. And then I have some
private tutoring and teaching sessions on Zoom, usually in the evenings or like early evenings, and then at some point I eat dinner. So it's kind of like that every day. It's a mixture of that every day, and that's basically it. But guys, what is the most important and powerful thing that I learned from books? It's a really hard question. I have to think about that. Feel free to get in touch with me if you want an answer on that, because a general answer. A general answer is read more books. That's my answer. That's my answer, right? Read more books, but also take action on the books. Do something with the knowledge. Do something with the information. Do something every day with the information. Don't just read. That's asinine just to read and then do nothing with it. Do something with it. Even if it's writing. Writing is doing something. Write about the book. So, awesome, guys. If you want to check out my channel, if you're not subscribed, feel free to subscribe. If you want to check out and work with me personally, you can check out my Critical Thinking Academy, and I'd love to work with you personally. Stay tuned, because I'm here every Wednesday sharing all sorts of knowledge and talking to you and getting knowledge from you guys as well. So yeah, love it. So be well, guys. Have a great rest of your day. I'm gonna go feed my dog because she is begging me to do that. So I will see you guys in a bit. You too, Nikhil. Have a great day.